Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. What's up and what's going on, traders? Welcome back. Good freaking morning and happy Money Tuesday. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful morning, and I hope you guys had a great night as well. I hope you guys are all set, ready to rock. You're excited, you're motivated, you're ready to crush this market and make it happen. And I'm only like 1.5 Celsius in. So before you say like, oh, Josh just had 5 Celsius today. No, I've only had 1 Celsius. I'm just excited to be here, guys. Gosh, I love working with you. You guys are amazing. You guys apply yourself. You move the needle. You make money. It just fires me up. I'm so sorry that you guys are so good at what you fucking do. And it makes me happy. It excites me. Okay, so get freaking excited with me. Beat your chest a little bit unless you did chest day yesterday and your titties hurt. Do not do that. It does not feel very good at all. So, good morning, everybody. Once again, happy Money Tuesday. Drop me and hit me with those big ol' good mornings right now inside of chat if you haven't done so yet. Alan, Adam, Trader Adam, what's up? Josie, Harry, Joey, Catherine, Susan, Steve, Anthony, your username is freaking awesome. The Sizzler. I like it. I don't know why. I kind of want to steal it. You can be Alpha. I want to be the Sizzler. The Sizzler Nizzler. That's what I want to be. I love the username. Stir, what's up? Corey, good morning. Joey, everybody. And like I said, if you have not hit me with a good morning yet, that's all I ask you guys to do. I ask you guys for like 2 things: to show up, take some initiative, right? Engage with the community, ask for help, right? Lean on the community, number 1. Number 2, just say good morning. It's not hard. If you think it's hard, you know what you can do? You're like, I don't want to type anything today. Just fucking copy Corey's good morning and just repaste it. There you go. It's super simple. That's all I ask you guys to do. Hit me with a good morning. Who's here inside of chat right now? Who is ready to rock and roll? Corey, what's up, dude? William, what's up, dude? Jonathan, he's typing. What's up, Jonathan? That's Jonathan's day 2 inside of the community. Jonathan, how's everything going so far, boss? How you liking it so far? You moving the needle? You making happen? You liking it so far? I mean, day number 2 in the community. How's it going, dude? And one thing I want to do as well as we're talking about it is I want you guys that just joined. We made a new platform overview video as well as a program overview video. So I told you guys yesterday I'm going to build out like a PDF visual representation of like the program, the platform, and connect the dots to give you guys a little bit more structure than what you already have. I went ahead and just made it like 35-minute long video to connect those dots to give you guys that structure. So you had a green day yesterday. So your day number 2, you had a green day yesterday. You're feeling pretty good, feeling pretty confident. You're moving the needle. I love it. For those of you that are new to the community, right, that have just joined in the last maybe couple of weeks, you're still getting familiar with the platform, the program, where everything's at, take like 30 to 35 minutes today, watch this video, and it's going to give you a complete overview and a complete breakdown of the Alpha University program, the steps, the phases that you'll complete, how they're linked up to every course. Again, give you guys the structure and the path to follow, number 1. Number 2, it's going to review the entire platform as well, so you know exactly how to navigate the platform, the features, the functionality, all that good stuff. So check it out. I freaking love it, Jonathan. Day number 2 already had a green day. Dope. And moving forward, let's get profits posted on up in profits chat. If you are making some money, post it up. If you're losing money like Josh, he lost $5 yesterday. Hey, post up your losses as well, right? Post it up. It gives us an opportunity to shout you out, right? Really support you and motivate you even more for your great wins. And if you're having a red day, it gives us an opportunity to help you, bounce back, you know what I mean? And just hold yourself accountable. So let's dive into it, guys. It is 8:54. You guys already have the game plans for pretty much everything. You have the game plan for the SPY. Check those out. Those are some really thorough analysis. Just when I do analysis on the SPY in the morning with you guys live, it's even more thorough in these videos. So check out the SPY, game plan and analysis. Check out the Qs, game plan and analysis. We also broke down ALVR. That's our back burner sleeper play on our penny stock watch list. And then we do have FULC, depending on, what the stock is doing right now at this point in time. There was some potential with FULC. I gave you guys the game plan on it, and I actually took the trade on FULC this morning, but I got out of it very, very quick because it just wasn't getting that pop, and I went ahead and just cut it for about $50 of win. So, I mean, this stock still has potential. I think it's still worth watching, but the reason I'm breaking down these videos is, again, it's a lot better than typing it number one. Number two, I'm very, very thorough. I can give you guys the visual representations. Number three, you guys have an opportunity in the morning to already be prepared prior to me going live at 8:45, especially with the SPY and the Qs and anything else that has a lot of potential. Then that just frees up a lot more time, right? I'm able to go through our entire options watch list. I can look at other penny stocks. I can review your stocks as well. And that gives us another 10 to 15 minutes to be able to help you guys even more. So check out those videos. It's everything you need to get prepared with the SPY and the Qs. And then finally, by giving you guys those videos of the breakdowns, not everybody on YouTube gets it, right? It's only for you guys. We got to keep things exclusive for you, right? I'm joking, YouTubers. We'll dive into the SPY and the Qs as well. So let's go ahead and talk about your top stocks for the day. We have about, we got about 20 minutes to do the pre-market rundown, review your stocks for the day. What are you looking at? Do you need a second opinion? Do you need me to do some due diligence? All right. And let's dive into it. So Apple starting strong. Catherine, she's ready to make it happen. Loving it. So one thing I want to point out about Apple is we are coming back into a lot of this daily support here on Apple, right? So we can see how many times we've hit this zone. So go ahead and mark up a zone between 176.58 and 177.57. Get that zone marked up on your chart. And I mean, look at how many times we've hit this area, right? 3 times that support, 3 more times the support. Nice big push to the upside. Came back down into it over the last couple of weeks as support. I mean, let's just go ahead and count those out to show you how many times we've respected this level as daily support. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 times that we've come down and hit this level and we've held above it as support. And some of those days we've seen some nice pops, nice bounces, nice pops, nice bounces, right? And then here we actually see us open in that zone. We could not push back above it and we dropped through it to the downside. Now, what are we seeing on Apple? We are retracing back into this prior support level and looking to retest it as what? Resistance for the possible next leg down on Apple. I mean, we could all agree this was very strong support. We cracked it. When we come back into it, strong support turns strong resistance. We know Apple's going to struggle at this level, and it's very possible we see Apple top out, roll on over, and start working on its next leg on down. So I'd really be focused on this zone today here with Apple between 176.58 and 177.57 as your main key level of overhead resistance. And again, if we see Apple hitting the zone today, topping on out and unable to break above it, it's very, very possible we start to see Apple kind of curl on over and then start to fade and fall once again. And so where are we at right now with Apple? We're in this zone. So, I mean, this is your line in the sand, guys, right? If we are unable to break the top end of this zone at 177.57 and we stay inside of the zone and just kind of chop and top out, it's very possible we start to see that next leg on down, right? It may not all happen today, right? We could see today be like a very kind of neutral day of us just kind of consolidating, right? Try again tomorrow to break that zone. Like you could see this consolidate and hit this zone today into tomorrow, get a couple of days of hitting that level before it tops on out. So you may not even see it top on out today. You may see it continue to, hit that level even into tomorrow before it tops on out. So, I mean, again, this could play out over the next 2 to 3 days. It could play out today as well. But again, just being realistic that you may see it, into the zone today, tomorrow, Thursday. You might see a couple of days back to back of it trying to push through the zone and maybe fail. And if we see that take place over the next day or 3, then we have some pretty high confidence that, Apple can get rejected off that daily level of resistance and start to drop and pull on back. Right. So that's the area that I would really keep on high watch today, tomorrow, and really the rest of this week with Apple. If we are unable to really, with some strength, push through this zone and regain it as support, right? We actually want to be looking for the possible upcoming short if we are failing to break through the zone and move higher. And again, that zone's between 176.58 and 177.57, right? But again, if we see some strength today, tomorrow, and we push back to the upside out of the zone, we know it's going to turn back into support. And then from there, we could definitely expect to see Apple possibly go on another leg to the upside. So your line in the sand with Apple is that daily level that we've been discussing. And, that's your make or break. It really depends on what Apple does at that level. If we fail to break through it to the upside, we top on out, roll on over, we want to get short. That's what the chart's telling us, right? Possible leg to the downside off this key level of resistance. But if we see some strength today, tomorrow, pushing through the zone, we ever return to it and validate that it's against support and we're regaining that level as support, then from there, we'll just play the market long because clearly that's where Apple's going to want to be going. So keep that key level on high watch, and we can see that it's a pretty key level. And we'll go from there, right? If we see it setting up today, maybe we have an opportunity to the short side today. Who knows? Maybe we just kind of consolidate sideways today, not really do a whole lot, and maybe set up tomorrow or even Thursday. So I still think Apple is something to keep on high watch over the next couple of days, and especially today as well. They're on Apple. All right. So Apple's going to be on high watch. YouTube, what's up, everybody? Good morning, Vito, Texas man. Listen and relax. What's up, Cole, John, Prod Cycle? Good morning, Tillman's dad. What's up? Woo, what's going on, everybody? Let's take a look at Tesla real quick. So we're already talking about Apple. Until we see more tickers come through inside of chat, I'll go ahead and review some of my stocks that are on watch that we have yet to really talk about. Let's start with Netflix. Same thing with Netflix as we're looking with Apple, right? So again, check Apple, right? We're just looking at the daily time frame. We have all this daily support. We cracked it. We're looking for that retest for the next leg down. Okay. Go take a look at Netflix. Okay, we had a lot of this support. It was a gap level, number one. So we did have a little bit of this gap level. Ended up turning into support. We bounced, turned support. We bounced. We cracked that level with an increase in volume. Now we're bouncing back into that level of prior support as resistance. And over the last couple of days, we see volume tapering and decreasing. So this is a possible 2-3-legged pullback, right? On the daily, nice drop on off with an increase in volume. Now we're retracing, we're bouncing with a decrease in volume. That could be a nice little 2-3-legged pullback into this level as resistance. And if we see Netflix unable to break this zone, we could start to see that next leg down. So the key area of resistance here on Netflix is going to be the zone between 409.54 and 411.53. That is your key level of resistance here on Netflix. And so all we really need to see is one of two things, right? Come up in the zone, top on out, fall back below it. Then we could start to get short for the next leg on down. So again, I'm just looking to see what we do in the zone of resistance. If we top out, roll on over, and we start to fall, I'll be looking to get in for that next leg on down here on Netflix. It's a simple daily crack of support, retest as resistance, again, for the next leg on down. All right. And again, I like how the volume is lining up with the stock's movement. So as we saw, again, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, not even Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, to the downside, every day we moved just a little bit bigger than the prior day. There on Thursday, a little bit bigger than Wednesday, and volume was increasing to the downside. Now we're bouncing. How do we, know if this is a strong bounce, buyers are stepping back in, or a weak bounce where maybe shorts are just covering, right? How do we gauge the strength or weakness of a bounce? You just look at the volume. So as you see the stock falling to the downside, you see it was gaining strength, right? Volume was increasing to the downside. Every day was a little bit bigger to the downside as well. Now you're looking at this bounce. Is it a strong bounce? Look at the volume. Is volume increasing right now along this bounce? It is not. It's actually pretty stagnant and slightly tapering on off. So that's starting to indicate that this could be a simple crack and retest here on Netflix. And the volume lines up beautifully with it as well. So that's what I'd be looking for here on Netflix, guys, right? Simple stuff, a little bit of this daily crack and retest. As long as we see Netflix stay below the zone between, like 409.54 and 411.53, again, we stay below the zone. I would look to take, puts here on Netflix today, tomorrow, whenever this thing sets on up. Okay. But kind of the same thing with Apple, right? If, Netflix gets above this zone and we see it regain it as support, well, we're clearly not taking puts. That would be, an opportunity to take this long because we would be breaking back above that daily resistance level, pulling back and regaining it as possible support. And that would give us some confirmation that, hey, we could see a nice little push to the upside. Same thing with Apple, right? At the zone. One of two things could happen, right? If we top on out, roll on over, of course, we're taking it short. But at the same time, who's to say we're going to top out, roll on over? What if we see a big, strong break through that zone? We return to it and hold it as support. Well, that's confirmation to play Apple long. right? Same thing applies to Netflix. Who's to say we hit the zone and top on out? We could break through it, pull back into it, regain it as support, and that would give us confirmation to play calls there on Netflix. But you're a line in the sand. The key area that you guys need to be paying attention to here on Netflix is that zone between 409.54 and 411.53. And like I said, if we come up into that zone, top on out, roll on over, and we get intraday confirmation to play puts, I mean, it's a great area to look to get short. And all these areas have been identified on the daily. So this is going to be a high probability area here today that we could see a good short setup appear, present itself, and hey, get some confirmation to look to play some Netflix puts to the short side, guys. So that's what I'm looking at today here on Netflix. Okay. Then the main ones that I'm going to be watching, right? Tesla. Couple areas I want you guys to be mindful of here with Tesla. And I'm just going to give you the zones, right? So go ahead and get these established on your charts. So lower support on Tesla is between 231.26 and 232.20. That's yesterday's close, yesterday's high a day. That's going to be your best level of support today. Overhead resistance is this zone between 240.56 and 241.68. This is going to be a level of resistance right here on Tesla. And I say resistance because we're actually below that level right now in pre-market. So we know that as we're below this daily zone of prior support, and resistance, we know that this is going to be an intraday level that's going to be respected. So we're below this zone right now. This is going to be some resistance today here on Tesla between 240.56 and 241.68. If for any reason we're able to break through this zone of resistance, hold it today as intraday support, Tesla has potential to pop up towards around 250 and then this overhead zone of resistance, which is between 251.04 and 251.84. So we have our three highest probability key levels of support and resistance identified right from the daily. Go right into our intraday time frame. Okay, we can see that we're sitting right at this zone of resistance. And that's going to be an area that we could see Tesla just unable to break through. And if we see Tesla struggling to break through this level to the upside, we stay below it and we start to roll on over, we could look to place some puts on Tesla back down to yesterday's high a day and yesterday's close, which is this lower zone of support, which is again between 231.26 and 232.20 there on Tesla. But to the flip side, if Tesla is able to break through that zone of resistance, which is very well possible, pull back into it and hold it as support, well, we absolutely want to be looking to play Tesla calls today up to 250. And then that overhead zone of resistance between 251.04 and 251.84. Okay, so your line in the sand today here with Tesla is this zone between 240.56 and 241.68. That's your line in the sand. If we can't break above it, then we're looking for puts for the drop on off. If we can break above it and stay above it as intraday support, we would simply look to play some calls up to 250 and then up towards around 251.04 to 251.84 there on Tesla. This trend line is definitely not, a good looking trend line. So let's remove that. Actually, I actually want to put the trend line back, to be honest with you. So I want to go and see, do we still have a valid trend line? No, I'm going to grab a trend line off these daily points here and see if it runs into today. And you can kind of see that this trend line's trying to be respected from yesterday, right? Not really. I'm kind of stretching the trend line here. We'll remove the trend line. We'll add it back if we see, any reason to do so. But those are going to be your main levels of support resistance on Tesla. And again, I like where we're opening. We're opening right at resistance. One of two things are going to happen. It's going to fail to break. We're going to get short. It's going to break and hold. We just get long. I like where Tesla's located today. I like where Tesla's going to be opening right at this key level. And so I think there's going to be some really nice opportunity right out of the gate with Tesla. This takes priority on my watch list. My focus is going to be Tesla right at the start of the day, guys. All right. And then finally, we have NVIDIA in all-time highs, right? So all-time highs here on NVIDIA was right here, boop, at like 480.91. Here in pre-market, we've put in new all-time highs here on NVIDIA. We have earnings tomorrow after the bell. That's 2 more full days that NVIDIA can continue to rip to the upside. So what do we want to see? Right? One of two things. Number one, we want to see NVIDIA open above these all-time highs and stay above these all-time highs as support, which would be 480.90. Let's actually make sure that's the exact level. It's not. So let's bring this down a little bit. It would be 480.88. So if we see NVIDIA opening above that 480.88, we pull back into it and see a nice intraday bounce, and we're holding that level as support. That's when NVIDIA can start to see its next leg on up. But if we fail to hold those all-time highs, because it's a single all-time high, I would actually say support's going to be back down between this zone, right, where we connect these highs right here on NVIDIA. So that zone's going to be between like 478.15 to 479. These two spiking highs that we can connect really nicely here. So that's going to be like your lower zone of support here on NVIDIA if we fail to hold that all-time high at 480.88. But if we fail to hold the all-time high, we fail to hold these highs as well. Let's say NVIDIA is dropping on off. How low could NVIDIA go? Well, I would say NVIDIA has potential to come back down to yesterday's close and yesterday's high a day. That zone is between 469.67 and 470.63. So we have that absolute really, really low zone of support between yesterday's close and yesterday's high a day. We have these two highs back to back that we're going to go ahead and mark on up, and then that all-time high as well. These are going to be some of the best areas of support resistance here on NVIDIA today, right? So let's go ahead and look at this intraday time frame. Where are we at right now? Again, we already know we're trying to break above those all-time highs. And that's the thing, is if we see NVIDIA open above those all-time highs and we hold that 480.88 as support, we have potential to spike up towards around 493 today on NVIDIA. Okay. But if we do fail to hold those all-time highs as support, we know we can come down into this zone between 478.18 and 478.97 and hold that zone as support. And again, it was just these two spiking highs, right? And that's going to be an area of support. And that area was already respected, right? It was respected as resistance, resistance, resistance. So we can already see that that daily level was already respected here in pre-market. So it even validates it, even more. If we pull back into that level today, that would be a great support level to see NVIDIA stay above and get back up towards around those all-time highs, right? 480.88. And then potentially be able to make a big move up towards around, 493 here on NVIDIA. But here's the deal, guys. Right? If we do not hold those all-time highs at 480.88, if we do not hold this lower zone of support and we crack these two levels, right? And we stay below them as resistance, that's when we can see NVIDIA fade and fall back down to yesterday's high a day and yesterday's close, right? And that lower zone is between 469.67 and 470.83 here on NVIDIA. Okay, so if you want to play this long today, you want to see it hold above those all-time highs. At the lowest, that zone between 478.18 and 478.97. You want to see one of those two levels hold on up and see some strength, right? And see that just really good support here intraday on NVIDIA. But that's the thing, is if we fail to hold those two levels and we crack below them and stay below them, then I want to get short on NVIDIA back down into the low 470s today, guys. Okay. And one other thing I want to hit on real quick, this is a great opportunity to learn something new today, is how did I gauge 493.07, right? It's a pretty random number. Like, where did I come up with overhead resistance on NVIDIA at 493.07? Well, it's actually really simple, right? We have this swing low to the swing high. And so I know that I can grab a Fibonacci retracement off the swing low, off the swing high, and see if this Fibonacci retracement was validated. And it was, right? We see the 23.6 validated, right, as support and resistance. We see the 38.2 validated here as support, as resistance. We saw the 50% hold as support. We saw the 61.8 hold, right? So we can see that we've come down to these fib retracement levels along this pullback, and we had price action. We had movement at these levels telling me that this Fibonacci retracement was indeed respected. So now I know that I can grab a Fibonacci extension to map out overhead levels of resistance. So I will go simply now grab a Fibonacci extension from that same swing low, go ahead and click it, drag it up to that same swing high, click it, and then drag this back down to your pullback low, right? That's how you're going to draw and identify a Fibonacci extension. And what this is going to allow you to do is map out overhead levels of resistance. I mean, being that we're in all-time highs, there's nothing to look left on, right? There's no overhead resistance until you get up to $500 psychological resistance. But are there any pit stops along the way up? How do we gauge overhead levels of resistance when we're in new all-time highs, besides just focusing on psychological levels. You can use Fibonacci extensions as long as a Fibonacci retracement was indeed valid. We validated that Fibonacci retracement was respected. Now we can confidently run a Fibonacci extension off those same points. And then that's where I come up with that 493.07 area, right? It's actually 493.13. So it's actually 493.13. But that's the 78.6 extension. So I know that before we hit 500, the 78.6 extension is going to be a possible level of resistance. That's right around 493.13. That's an area where I should be prepared to lock in some profits. Okay. Then we could see NVIDIA up towards around 500 bucks. All right, guys. So that's how I'm gauging my overhead levels of resistance, being that we could see NVIDIA continue to push into brand new all-time highs. And that's how we're going to gauge overhead levels of resistance on NVIDIA. So you guys got the game plan. You know exactly what we need to see to be able to play NVIDIA long today. Okay. And exactly what we would see if we actually get short on NVIDIA back down to yesterday's high a day and yesterday's close. But if we get long confirmation and we take NVIDIA long today, we know exactly where we can see the stock go, right? First target, 493.14. And then finally, maybe 500 bucks ahead of earnings. That's going to be NVIDIA, right? So you're fully prepared with NVIDIA. You got the game plan and the rundown with Tesla, my number one stock at the start of the day, right? We got Netflix on watch, looking decent. Could be a day trade that turns into a solid swing trade. And same thing with Apple, right? Great day trade potential that could also turn into a wonderful swing trade as well, okay? You guys already have the game plan on FULC. I made that. It was like a 5-minute long video this morning. I posted that inside of alerts. You have ALVR, back burner sleeper play today. That's been posted inside of alerts as well. And then you guys have the full complete breakdown here on the SPY and here on the Qs. Again, those videos posted inside of alerts. You have plenty of time to watch those, plenty of time to get prepared. And if you guys have any follow-up questions, I'm more than happy to answer those for you. But right now, let's take the last maybe 10 minutes to make sure I didn't miss any of your guys' stocks. Is there anything that you guys are looking at that you want me to review? If so, let's dive into it. So we got Apple down pat. We got NVIDIA down pats. Is that a ticker? DKS from Jonathan? Gotcha. So yeah, thank you, Stir. Appreciate that. So let's look at DKS. Dick's Sporting Goods. So, I mean, first thing I do, Jonathan, is I go right to the daily and I try to identify like just key areas of support resistance from the daily, like that really, really stand out to me. I'm looking for just multiple touch points. That's it. Looking for multiple touch points, areas that we've hit many, many, many times that we know could be respected again today. So let's, again, just give me a moment. I'm going to just do some analysis here and kind of get an idea of where could DKS be going today. So, I mean, that's a solid zone right here. It even goes all the way back into this high, gap up low. So that's a solid zone. Go ahead and mark up this zone here between 138.57 and then 140. That's a solid zone. Then I want to come back down into these lows here, right? Mark up that zone. That's going to be a solid level of support, right? We came down into it 1, 2, 3, 4 times and we bounced. We can also see prior to that being support, it was also a good deal of resistance here, right? We see how many times we've hit that zone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 got rejected. 8 times got rejected, broke above it, came back down and tried holding a support. And then once we got back below it, we saw it was resistance again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 times. We broke through it, then it turned back in support. I mean, that's a solid level on DKS. I mean, that's a very clear, very solid level there on DKS. So we got this initial level down here. We have this level here. And let's do one more zone to the downside. And I'm going to say it's going to be down here at this gap. So we're going to mark up these candle lows, identify our gap, teeny gap, hasn't been filled yet, teeny gap. Right here against these lows, we can connect that gap as well. And I always like to take this back in time and see if it was respected up previously as well. And it was. Low of day bounce, low day bounce, turned resistance. We see it really respected right here as well. It's also a daily gap. You know, These are my zones. These are like the key levels of support resistance, right? The first areas that really stand out to me, high probability areas. So let's go to DKS, where we just completely smack below all those levels. So we're below all those levels. So at least we know the nearest level of overhead resistance is between 125.46 and 126.08. We know that that's going to be the nearest level of resistance overhead. Okay. But now we got to work our way down a little bit lower. Okay. We got to mark up this level here, right? Where we came down and bounced. So that's a great level, 121.58. And we just got to keep working our way back here on DKS. Do we have any gaps? I mean, there's a gap way down here on DKS. That's down around like 103 to 105. So we can just identify that gap here. And so we know that it's a gap. Let's mark it up with an upper green line and a lower green line. So we know that this blue zone is a daily gap. So that's an obvious level. Right here is a pretty obvious level. And then we want to like look at all of this prior resistance here on DKS. And so what we can do is we can start off those candle lows right there, connect those highs right there, and we get all these points, drag that back. It was a lot of prior support and resistance, support, a lot of resistance, a lot of resistance. So let's drag that out to the right. That's going to be another area to keep on watch here on DKS. So, I mean, I feel pretty confident in these levels, right? Let's go back into our daily. Where are we at right now? We're at that lowest zone of support. So all of this right here between 115.36 and 117.97, that's going to be a key zone of some daily support resistance. I mean, look at how many times we hit that zone as resistance. A lot of times. Look at how many times we hit the zone as resistance. A lot of times. Then we held as support. Held as support. We can see that's a pretty key level here on DKS, right? And so again, that zone is between 115.36 and 117.79. If we crack below this zone, we could look to target this daily gap fill down around 103.16 to 105.29. That would be a great little target here on DKS if we fail to hold this initial zone as support. And we know overhead resistance will be at 121.58 and then up towards around this zone between 125.46 and 126.08. So we know we have these three key levels of overhead resistance. We know we're currently sitting in this daily zone as support, and we're holding that zone today as support intraday and pre-market. And we know if we fall below this zone, we could go much lower and possibly close this gap to the downside. And so now we have all of our daily levels identified. We know that we need to really keep DKS on watch inside of this zone. If we're able to hold it as support, we can see DKS push back up today around 121.58, first level of daily resistance. If we're able to push over that 121.58, we have potential to get into this zone of daily resistance between 125.46 and 126.08. Okay, so we know that there is good potential to the long side today with DKS, assuming we stay above this zone of daily support. So if we see this area turn into great support here intraday, it's a daily level. We just identified it. We could see buyers move on in, push this up towards around 121.58, and then possibly up towards around that 125.50 level. All right. But to the flip side, there's always the flip side. What if DKS drops below the zone and does not hold it as support? What if we fall below it, push back into it, and we see that it's more or less resistance, we're topping out and looking to roll on over? That would be indication to look to get short for the next leg down on DKS, possibly to come down and fill that daily gap between 103.16 and 105.29. So your line in the sand. I love when I have a good line in the sand. Your line in the sand today on DKS is this zone of support between 115.36 and 117.97. If we hold that area as intraday support, you can look to play it long into those overhead levels of resistance. If we fall below that level and stay below that level, that's going to be confirmation to look to get short here on DKS down towards around that daily gap fill between 103.16 and 105.29 there on DKS. At this point, you're not at the mercy of the market. You just got to wait for DKS to do something and give you confirmation to take any trade long or any trade short. But you've done your part. That's all you can do. DKS, let's review it. Let's do due diligence. Let's get prepared. We got prepared. We have identified our key levels based on the daily. Okay, so now you're at the mercy of the market. You got to wait for the market to do something. at one of these levels, right? Give you a reason to take a trade. That's the last step. Is there a reason to get in? Is there a setup? Is there a strategy? Is there an opportunity? If so, build your plan, right? Get prepared. Okay, then execute. That's all there's left to do. You've already done 80% of the work to get prepared. Now you got to wait for the market to come to you and set up. That's it. So if you ever notice at any point today, Jonathan, that DKS, you think it's setting up and you're like, hey, man, I just don't know. I need a second set of eyes. Type it inside a chat. Corey will take a look at it. Stir will take a look at it. I guarantee Alan will take a look at it. We'll have probably 10 traders come together and look at it and give you their analysis. I will look at it over the live stream and tell you what I see and build plans with you and help you move the needle a little bit. All right. So just keep it on watch, wait for there to be an opportunity, and we'll go from there on DKS. But you're as prepared as you can be, and that's all you can do right now at this point in time. Now you just got to sit back and wait for the market to come to you and provide you with a killer opportunity there on DKS. What do we got? About 5 minutes to go. Let's make sure we didn't miss anything here. Felicia, what's up? Good morning. Can I look at drug? You're looking at it. You're looking at it right now. Yeah, let's look at drug. Drug looks like it's pretty drugged. I'm not going to lie. I mean, this thing is freaking, Xanaxed out, sleeping, just fading and falling. I mean, here's the deal. Anita, you know me at first glance. I'm a first glance type of guy. If I don't see anything at first glance on a daily, I don't pursue it. Especially penny stocks. I tend to pass on pennies a lot more, especially when I don't see anything at first glance. And that's the deal, is I don't really see too much at first glance. I mean, we had a massive gap up 2 weeks ago. We spiked and we've been just fading and falling ever since. One thing about, pennies is there's got to be a catalyst to drive the stock, right? If there's no catalyst, there's no reason for penny stock traders to move on in and buy it on up. So if we don't have a catalyst, we don't have eyeballs and attention on the stock. If we don't have eyeballs and attention, there's no volume. There's no volume, there's no opportunity. So I see literally no volume traded on DRUG, no volume traded whatsoever after I made that massive dump to the downside from 6 down to 250. And I don't really see a reason for, buyers to really, step back in unless there's a catalyst. You know what I mean? So this is a tough one because, again, it's only going to move if traders are looking at it, if traders are, wanting to trade it due to a catalyst, due to it gapping up, having high relative volume. So, again, this is a tough one to give you analysis on. I just really don't want to give any kind of analysis on it and put my name behind it because I wouldn't trade it myself. I wouldn't even look at it, right? But that's my opinion, right? I don't want to give you a biased response. Support is this lower zone between 241 and 248. Lower, actually, it's a little bit lower than that. It's, we can connect all this. Look at all this support, resistance, support. Your lower zone of support here on DRUG is between 239 and 248, right? Overhead resistance on DRUG, I would say overhead resistance on DRG. Obviously, you have some of the short-term resistance, but I would say better resistance would be up towards around this zone right here, right? Because we have a lot of support and it was a lot of resistance. So tons of resistance, broke above it, turned support. That would be your strongest overhead level of resistance here on DRG, right? Between 321 and 333 with really, really good daily support down between 239 and 248 here on DRUG. I mean, that's all I could really do is like, where's your next key level of resistance? Where's your nearest key level of support? And you just need volume. That's it. That's the missing piece. Like, you need volume. You need traders looking at the stock, right? Trading the stock. You need volume. And you need a reason for traders to look at the stock and a reason to trade it. And that's what's going to bring in the volume. And when we don't have volume, we just don't have opportunity. Okay. So play it safe, play it very safe. Keep it on watch if you want. And if you ever see a day where they drop a press release, maybe we have a surge in volume, the thing starts moving a little bit, you already are prepared. You already have your key levels identified and you're all set ready to rock and roll. They're on DRUG, guys. All right. So that would be my 2 cents. They're on drug, and it's looking pretty drugged right now at this point in time. Man, I'm getting DM blasted. I'm getting DM blasted right now. Who is blasting my DMs right now? You guys are blah, 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 blah. All right, market to be open here in a few moments. I am getting everything set up for Market Mastery, our private sessions. Let's go ahead and get you guys the link. Invite. Link's been posted up inside Market Mastery. I still don't know why it's not automatically posting that for you. Zoom link. It's not posting. Okay, maybe I need to reset. One sec, guys. I'm trying to get this link posted, but Market Mastery is not. There it is. Jesus. It keeps deleting messages too, which is odd. We'll get that all situated, but market's open. We are live. Let's have fun, guys. Let's make today an amazing day. Let's crush this market. And let's have some fun while we do it, guys. Mr. Anthony. Good morning, sir. How'd you like that? Mr. Anthony. It was beautiful, man. Very angelic. Zach, what's up, dude? Good morning. You got your puppy with you. I love it, dude. I love it. So I got to go get my daughter then. Bring the 5-month-old in here. She's my good luck charm.
Yeah, there you go.
So how you guys feeling today? Anthony, Zach, you guys feeling pretty good? Pretty dialed in? I see you guys were crushing those morning routines with ease. I love it.
Today's morning routine was non-existent.
It was non-existent. It happens to the best of us, man.
It was a rough morning. I had a bad work day yesterday, man. It was terrible.
Gotcha. So mentally, how you feeling today, man? If you were to do like a mental assessment right now on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you put it mentally? Focused, dialed in.
Mentally, right now at a 4.
Okay.
I have a loan that's supposed to close at 1 today, and I still don't have a clear to close from the underwriter. I spent the majority of the day fighting that. So as soon as that gets cleared, hopefully this morning, I'll be at a 10 because that stress will be gone.
Love it. But that's not going to happen until at least 1 or 2 o'clock, right?
Well, the closing is supposed to be at 1 Eastern, but I'm hoping to have it clear to close within the next half hour. So
gotcha.
Let's see how that goes.
So based on that mental assessment of a 4, if you were trading a live account right now, would you trade today? What would your approach be?
I would probably wait until the stressors are gone.
Yes. Wait until those stressors are gone, and it never hurts once that's wrapped up to do a quick meditation just to get your mind back down to an equal balance and then come back to the market and approach it at that time. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's my approach.
Yeah,
I did mark up SPY. I actually had levels similar to yours before I watched